Hi, I'm Leah Courtney. I'm a homeschooling mom and a business owner at As We Walk Along the Road. I love to talk all things homeschooling and especially all things literature-based homeschooling, and this video is in my literature-based homeschooling series. So to start off, just in case you haven't seen any of the other videos in this series, I'm going to tell you what I mean about literature-based homeschooling. So when I use that term, I'm talking about a homeschooling method that is focused on a core of great literature instead of using textbooks and workbooks as the core of your curriculum. One of the questions that I often get from homeschooling moms about literature-based homeschooling is, can I use literature-based homeschooling if I'm homeschooling multiple kids of different ages? And the short answer is yes. My longer answer is that not only yes, but it's often a very good method to use if you're homeschooling multiple children of multiple ages and you want to include the whole family in learning the same thing. So first, I'm going to give you an example. If you have kids who are somewhere within 5 to 6 years of each other. So in just a little while, I'll talk about if you have kids on way sides of the spectrum. But if you have kids who are about 5 or 6 years between each other, and you are going to use literature-based homeschooling, let's say that you are reading the book Charlotte's Web, and you have all the way from kindergarten through an upper elementary aged child, and you're going to read Charlotte's Web together. So what I would usually do is I would read the book aloud to the whole family. You could also have your older kids read it independently and have the younger kids listen to you read it aloud. But I like to read aloud even to older kids, so I would read it aloud with the whole family. Then let's say you want to do a creative writing activity with Charlotte's Web. So your older kids might write a story about a favorite pet that they had, like Fern had Wilbur, or a favorite pet that they would like to have. Your younger kids might not have the ability to write a creative story like that yet, but they could draw a picture illustrating a favorite pet or a pet they would like to have. Or they could dictate a story to you and you could write their story down, and then maybe they could illustrate it with a picture. So you're reading the same book and you're all sharing the same information, but each child is doing an activity that is related to his age or ability level. And you can do this with any book and all different kinds of activities. You can adapt for older and younger students. Sometimes your older students might be writing more, they might be researching more, while your younger students are watching a video or telling you information instead of writing it down. Now, if you have kids who really are in a wide age range, sometimes it's helpful to group younger kids and older kids into two groups. And I've done this at several points throughout our homeschooling because my two younger kids are pretty close in age, and then the two older kids are pretty close in age, but there's a bigger gap in the middle. So you could have a younger student group and an older student group, and your younger students could be reading one book while your older students read a different book. And then within their group, you could assign activities based on the age and ability level of the kids in the group. Now, I have also had the experience where I chose to read aloud a book that I was doing with my high schoolers because I love reading aloud even to older kids. And my younger kids listened in, and I was really surprised at how much they actually got out of the book. It was a book that I did not think that they would comprehend very much of. The one I specifically remember doing was A Christmas Carol we did one year. And I read it aloud primarily for my older students and a lap book literature study that we were doing, but the younger students listened along, and I was surprised at how much they understood. Usually, Charles Dickens is kind of wordy and longer descriptions in his books, but my younger students were able to follow a lot more of it than I expected. So even though they weren't really participating in the unit study that we were doing, it was still a good opportunity for them to hear the book read aloud and actually be able to understand some of it and discuss it. So don't necessarily write off your younger kids when you are reading a book aloud with your older ones. Literature unit studies are a great way to incorporate literature-based homeschooling when you have groups of students who are multiple ages. And that's because a unit study in and of itself is pretty easy to adapt to multiple ages of kids. If you have had an interest in literature-based homeschooling, or if you already love and use literature unit studies, I want to invite you to my free masterclass that's coming up. On Monday, February 15th at 6 p.m., that's Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be giving a free masterclass titled 3 Ways to Create a Literature-Rich Home and Homeschool. And I'm going to be giving you some ideas of how you can incorporate literature into your family and homeschool. And I would love for you to come and join me. So there will be a link in the notes section here that you can find to sign up for that free masterclass. And I would love to invite you to do that. And stay tuned, subscribe, and follow for more great literature-based homeschooling information and resources.